I love movies. I remember vividly all of the great films that have enveloped me into their world. Dances with Wolves, Lord of the Rings, Far and Away, Gladiator, Braveheart, Star Wars. I remember going to the theater as a boy with my mother to see the film The Little Mermaid and being embarrassed that I actually loved that movie. I remember going to another movie with my mother as a teenager, Contact. We were both moved to tears as Ellie sees her late father in a celestial vision on that paradisaical beach. See, my father passed away a year before Contact released, so that scene really spoke to us in a special way. I remember connecting again with the father figure in the greatest game ever played. The crowd hoists Francis after his impossible win, everyone holding up money to pay the amateur. Francis turns to see his father, hoisting his support in the crowd. My mother thanked me with watery eyes for that wonderful evening. One final memory is with my wife Michelle's grandparents. They were on their way to visit one of their children and needed a place to stay. We watched Cinderella Man. See, Grandma and Grandpa lived through the Great Depression. They remembered those events. Grandma went to bed, but Grandpa stayed up and watched the whole thing. He was riveted. There's a moment at the end of the fight. It's the 15th round. Both fighters are spent. Bear hits Braddock so hard you think he's finished. He's old, he's worn, he's exhausted. The crowd gasps, eyes widen. Hearts flutter in the chests of longing Americans who spent their last dime on tickets to see this fight. They rise to their feet, cleaving to Braddock for hope. They live in Braddock. If he fails, they fail. They look on as Bear moves in for the kill, Braddock sinking into inevitable defeat. When suddenly, massive hit from Braddock sends Bear into a back pedal. Braddock coming at him like a bull. The crowd rises to their feet. It's electric. For a moment, they forget about everything else in the world. Nothing else matters but this moment, this fight, this triumphant victory over the crippling realities of the Great Depression. My friends, we have a moment like this right now. I have a film that will awaken the world to its majestic birthright. The story of two ancient nations clashing over the tenets of freedom, of a gallant commander who tamed the new world over 2,000 years ago, a mighty captain who bridled a wayward nation and united them in the cause of freedom. The film I speak of is in its final 4 days on Kickstarter. It's a Cinderella moment. It's a Jim Braddock moment. We've raised over $123,000 of a $150,000 goal for a concept film short. When we started our campaign, we didn't just want to hit our minimum goal. Our film is based on the 4th most influential book in America, the 5th best-selling book of all time, one of the greatest books ever published in the world. Our film is based on this. It's the first Book of Mormon war epic ever. Because of what this book means to me, I wanted to send an awe-inspiring statement to the world. I wanted to prove to the world that there's a lively and substantial audience for our film based on this book. I felt raising $1 million for a concept film short would be the best way to do this. The world may not understand a passionate guy telling them how epic their story is based on the Book of Mormon, but they do understand money. I want to be able to do a visual effects battle scene, and I can't do it for $150,000. I need at least $300,000 to do it. Consider for a moment something higher, something mighty that will ring the Liberty Bell in the next 4 days on Kickstarter so loudly that it will sound forever in the long days and years that follow after. We've already raised more than 99% of all film projects on Kickstarter. There is a way we can compel national media to cover our story, and even if they don't, it won't matter. We can still be the highest funded, highest backed short film of all time on Kickstarter. When we started our campaign, the highest funded short film was only $134,000. Since then, ironically, 2 other short films have surpassed that. We've already had a $20,000 backer. Who's to say there aren't 5 other bold warriors out there who will do the same? Who's to say there's not a patriotic giant who will pledge $100,000? And who's to say we can't get another 4,000 backers in the next 4 days? My Kickstarter mentor brought in $94,000 in 1 day from one blog article in his first Kickstarter. If this video reaches far enough, it can happen. If we all share like we've never shared before, if we all pledge even if it's just $1, if we do this, we can inspire a movement. We can bypass the media. I promise, in the next 4 days, I will leave it all on the table. Will you do it with me?
Our writers, our moving picture specialists with the inspiration of heaven, should tomorrow be able to produce a masterpiece which would live forever. Our own talent, obsessed with the dynamism from a cause, could put into a story life and heartbeats and emotions and love and pathos, drama, suffering, fear, courage, battles won against great odds. Such masterpieces should run for months in every movie theater, cover every part of the globe, in the tongue of the people, written by great artists, purified by great critics.